So today I'm going to talk to you about the synergy of love and will. When we integrate and harness the energies of love and will, we move beyond limitations and we align with the creative force of the universe. So today I'm going to go into an in-depth esoteric look at the nature of both love and our will, and the potential power of these energies in service to others, to inspire, create change, and transform lives. And it's no coincidence that this is happening while we're still in the energies of the Wesak Chorus Full Moon Festival, which of course brings together the great avatars of love and will, the Christ and the Buddha. And so that is supporting us today. So let us begin by exploring a deeper understanding of the nature of love. Our sun, our solar logos, is a great channel for the second ray of love wisdom. This energy of love, wisely applied, is the predominant guiding force for all within our solar system. Our sun is in fact the heart chakra in the greater being, the one about whom much may be said, often called the great man of heaven. The living entity using our solar system as a form within which to evolve and express himself. All of the 7 rays that govern and affect all aspects of human life on this planet are expressions of this ray of love wisdom that splits like white light through a prism into 7 rays, each with their own defining qualities. Our monad, soul, personality, and each of our lower personality bodies are governed by one of these rays. These in turn express through the 7 major chakras of our etheric energy system to determine our particular and unique mix of personality qualities, traits, capacities, and the challenges that help us to grow, to develop spiritually as we work through our karma and move forward on our spiritual path of perfecting manifestation and the manifestation of truth, beauty, and goodness in the world of matter. We're only just beginning to understand the nature of love, and we are in the infant stages of expressing the power of this force we call love. Love is not a sentiment. It's not an emotion or affection. Alice Bailey writes in The Soul, the Quality of Life, that the nature of the soul is love and the will to good. She continues that love was the impending motive for manifestation, and love it is that keeps all in ordered sequence. Love bears all on the path of return to the Father's bosom, and love eventually perfects all that is. She explains that we progress in our personality expression of love from pure and simple and entirely selfish love to love of family and friends, to the love of men and women, until we arrive at a love of humanity or group love consciousness, which is the predominant characteristic of the soul. She affirms a master of compassion, love, suffers with and remains with his kind and his kin. Love emanating from the soul gradually develops from love of humanity to love universal, including love of the Diva evolutions and all forms of divine manifestation in all kingdoms. So it is a natural part of our spiritual evolution to progress from love that is personal to that which is impersonal and universal. This divine expression of love is the manifestation on earth of the Christ consciousness. We witness this in the great sacrifice the disciple Jesus made during his initiation on the cross, whereby he opened fully to this Christ consciousness, divine love that enabled him to forgive and love even those who had dishonored and harmed him. In John 15:12-13, he said, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Over many lifetimes, there's gradually a transformation from love centered in our solar plexus chakra, in which we form an attachment to the recipient of our love through our lower emotional nature. Those entrained in this type of relationship send each other wonderful waves of heart chakra energy and energy from the solar plexus that creates the euphoric emotions associated with falling in love. However, this often becomes conditional on the behavior or personality response of our beloved to us. I will love you if you love me, or I will love you if you behave as I expect you to. And the initial euphoria fades as we come to experience the familiar roller coaster ride of messy, conditional love, so predominant in human relations. And we express this in our films, our books, our poetry, our songs. Not a journey for the faint-hearted, but nevertheless, it presents many opportunities to grow and evolve, and heals the flaws in our own psyche, and serves as a mirror to reveal that which needs redeeming in our personality nature. So through this myriad of experiences of love, we eventually learn that in order to truly connect with another, we need to lift up into the love of our heart chakra. This is a love that is unconditional. This love has a very different quality. This is the love often experienced by parents when they first connect with their newborns, or in moments of complete awe when we are still and truly connect with the beauty of our planet. This unconditional love requires no response in return. It just is. Joy is bestowed on the giver of such love as it opens the heart to a connection that is universal. In these moments of unconditional love, we open the petals of our Buddhic nature, lifting up out of the astral desire nature of the personality and experience, and we express the love that radiates from our soul and embodies the qualities of forgiveness, compassion, and loving kindness. The quality most notable in this love is that it is completely inclusive. We understand in that moment that we are all one, that we are our brother's keeper and our brother is ourself, not separate from us, and we are not isolated and alone, but part of the whole continuum of love. Love literally flows to us and through us, and naturally includes no desire to harm in thought, intention, or deed any sentient being in any of the kingdoms of manifestation, and radiates with a pure energy that is the most powerful healing and redeeming force in the universe. This is the power of love. As we evolve, we will learn to return to our truth and become love. Not experience or feel love, but be love. This was the message brought to us by the great avatar of love, the Christ. This love, or Christ consciousness, was first embodied by the disciple Jesus and is the foundation behind all of his teachings about forgiveness and the power of this love to heal and restore peace. This love is a latent seed that is within all of us. Jesus taught us that by accepting this love into our hearts, we can return to our Father's house and realize our God self, reconnecting with the love that permeates our universe. Ultimately, we are here to learn to love, that we are love. Buddha taught that the secret to happiness and the release from suffering is to learn to stop self-grasping or focusing on your desires and needs, and instead to make it your life's work to love and live for all others, whether you know them or not. He taught it is only through this development of great compassion and the capacity to love all others that you will open your heart to experience joy. In practicing cherishing others, you free both yourself and them from suffering, And the result is happiness and peace in your relations with all sentient beings. You become wise as you learn to love wisely. We suffer when we hold tight to our ideas and our ideals of how others should be to deserve our love and attention. There is great freedom in loving them anyway. We realize that forgiveness is ultimately about forgiving ourselves as we recognize that we are not separate. This is the light of our souls shining forth. We learn to love wisely and connect with the power of this love that abounds universally. The experience of true love is ultimately an experience of connection and a deep understanding of our unity with all life. As more in the human kingdom open the heart chakra and develop this capacity to truly love universally, this will enable the immense power of group work to develop in the age of Aquarius. Most groups today have noble heart intentions, but fail to achieve their potential for positive change, as members are still polarized in their lower astral, emotional natures and cannot yet function from their Buddhic nature. So conflict blocks the manifestation of these noble intentions. We see this in every human institution, even the most spiritual. And I believe this is the major challenge we face in the Theosophical society. Our heart center, aligned with our higher self, sets our highest, most noble intention. But now let's explore how we bring this intention into being. To do this, we need to explore the nature of will. Will is an expression of the first ray of will and power, one of the components of this universal second ray of love wisdom that defines existence. In notes in the Lucifer magazine, October 1887, H.P. Blavatsky wrote the following that helps us to understand the difference between will and desire. Quote, will is the exclusive possession of man on this plane of consciousness. It divides him from the brute in whom instinctive desire only is active. Desire, in its widest application, is the one creative force in the universe. In this sense, it is indistinguishable from will. But we men never know desire under this form while we remain only men. Therefore, will and desire are here considered as opposed. Thus, will is the offspring of the divine, the God in man, desire the motive power of the animal life. Most men live in and by desire, mistaking it for will. But he who would achieve must separate will from desire and make his will the ruler. For desire is unstable and ever-changing, while will is steady and constant. So simply put, desire is the driving force of those centered in their personality, whereas will is an energy that is harnessed with increasing soul contact. Like love, will begins with the desire that emanates from an idea in the mind. And we form an attachment to this desire that becomes rooted in the solar plexus chakra. This is our desire, and we clothe it in the energy and vitality inherent in the Manipura chakra, and it becomes a determined force. Will expressed from this level is an energy that is often expressed as might is right, and involves the individual, especially in our society, sadly, believing that to fulfill their desire, they must evoke their will to execute power over another. In this lower use of the will energy, we have all the human dynamics of power, manipulation, control that characterize many human relations, and in fact, our relationship with this planet and the mineral, plant, and animal kingdoms. This comes from our current belief in scarcity and the survival of the fittest that necessitates conflict and competition. This breeds the love of power, a worldwide glamour we must overcome both individually and collectively in all aspects of human endeavor if we are to evolve. The first ray of will and power has many vices in its lower expression that you might recognize. For example, a pride that will heed no criticism, ambition that knows no bounds, willfulness that knows no reason, anger that has no placating, and an arrogance and obstinance that survives all persuasion. Once the personality has experienced both sides of the coin of power play in human relations through many lifetimes, there develops a disillusion in the process of conflict, and the successes of the material world lose their ability to give life meaning and purpose. There begins an earnest search for a meaningful purpose. We see this as a defining attribute in the lives of many in our current times. So many people are searching for a purpose and a life of meaning. So when this is absent, people succumb to the many distractions the material life has to offer to avoid being honest about how unclear they are as to their purpose and how little meaning their life has. There is a lack of alignment with soul and a lack of clarity and meaning to their lives. So they spend time on social media, seek answers in constant courses, books, retreats, and the words of others, until eventually they find that the material world does not satisfy something they are seeking deep inside, something that is not to be found outside of themselves. And they realize that an inner search is required for the answers. This is the point at which many find the ancient wisdom teachings and are drawn to practices like meditation that enable the detachment from personality desires and an alignment to the soul's will and aspiration. Meditation is a powerful practice that opens the heart and strengthens our will. We can set a strong determination that reaches deep into our psyche when deep in meditation. We connect our conscious with our unconscious mind. We open our heart. We learn to discipline and control our mind, and therefore start to understand and be able to utilize its true power, the true power of our mind. With the highly evolved man, desire is transmuted. Attachment is released, and there is a surrender to a divine or higher plan, where desire is transformed into aspiration. Let my will be thy will. The defining aspiration is to know one's unique path of service and the particular part you are to play in the plan of the conscious evolution of mankind and our planet in this lifetime. Through conscious, contemplative, and meditative practices, there is a gradual opening of the third eye, the Ajna chakra, and a natural alignment with the soul, heralding a life guided by the intuitive wisdom of our Buddhic nature. This beautiful surrender to my will be thy will is orchestrated from the synergy of the universally focused love in man, combined with an opening of the will to good. This will energy is not aligned to the individual's desires, but rather aligns with this will to good or will to God. Again, moving from the personal to the impersonal universal. This beautiful surrender is an example of the power and of the synergy between love and will. As the heart opens to universally focused love through the Buddhic nature, this opens the doorway to a connection to divine will energy, pouring through the crown chakra from the Atma aspect of our higher self. It is through this Atma aspect that we connect to the mind of God, to the will of God, and Shambhala, where the will of God is known. We start to align with the energy, not just of our soul, but of the monadic spark. And when this starts to occur, this gives great meaning to our life. We're no longer lost We no longer place such importance on looking in the material world for that which deeply satisfies our soul. We become infused with passion, clarity of purpose. Our life has meaning. And there is huge amounts of vitality pours through our etheric body to enable us to put this beautiful synergy of love and will into action as service. And in this instance, we develop the many virtues of the ray of will and power, including the courage to persist against all odds, a confidence in the ultimate success of one's destiny, an ability to blend mercy with justice, the ability to call forth the best qualities in those about you, and to inspire others with the fire energy of enthusiasm and zeal, and the true and proper use of the solar plexus energies. If we look at the influential leaders of our time, they all had clear heart intention aligned to the highest good for humanity, combined with an indomitable will energy. These individuals are our heroes and show us the powerful effect of a leader who is aligned with the highest good, can inspire others and ignite the group will through their love. I'm thinking of people like Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela, Bishop Desmond Tutu, Gandhi, the Dalai Lama. These people are visionaries with a heartfelt aspiration aligned with divine will that creates whole freedom movements and revolutionary change in their lifetime. They align with the synergy of the energies of the great avatar of the will energy of the mind, the Buddha, and the great avatar who showed us the way through the love of the heart, the Christ. But this beautiful love-will synergy cannot occur when the energy flow is hindered by unresolved personality issues that block the vitality of the solar plexus chakra and block the bridge, the antakarana, to the higher centers through the heart center. Many in esoteric circles believe that they can access divine will through their spiritual knowledge and service work and ignore their personality integration and coordination, and so avoid looking at, resolving, and redeeming their emotional desire nature issues. Fear and its many manifestations, anger, doubt, jealousy, attachment, pride, arrogance, conditional love, and power play, all block the solar plexus chakra and damp down or extinguish the fire needed to transform desire into divine will. Eventually, if these are blocked for long enough, they block the flow of prana and the fire of willpower diminishes, creating deep despair, depression, and the diseases associated with the solar plexus and the heart chakras that are so prevalent in our world today. I just want to take an aside for a moment to just clarify something that's really useful in understanding power. In our society, we think of power as a force. When we talk about power in human relations, we usually associate it with power over. So there's like a hierarchical domineering power. So if someone has a desire and they want that desire to be put into action, they have power over others to enact that. Many people believe that for them to have power, others have to lose their power. And we have this power play thing going on. But a true understanding of power, when we take away the attachment to desire, when we lift up into our true power, is that when we lift into our full expression of who we are, when we stand in our power with that soul force and energy behind us, we empower others. So we lift up and we lift others as well. And this is the difference between the love of power and the power of love, is when you have that heart connected to the universal, to an unconditional love for all, you want to empower all. You want to teach others to shine their light, to lift up into all that they are. And you do that by shining your own light and showing them the way. And this is a huge shift that we need to make individually, is to understand power, not be afraid of our own personal power, our own light, to let it shine, knowing that it helps others to shine. And we don't have to have this power over, it can be power to, or empowerment. So going back to the synergy of these two powerful energies of love and will, when they combine, they form a triangle that enables the true expression of the ray that governs humanity, the third ray of active or creative intelligence. So to truly be a creative being, we need to bring about the synergy of these two powerful forces. In the Bailey teachings, you can read about the science of triangles and the power of various triangle configurations have. For example, there's a very powerful triangle between Shambhala, where the will of God is known, the crown chakra of our planet, the hierarchy as a vehicle for divine love, the heart chakra, and mankind as the creative expression of the synergy of these energies, the throat chakra that governs truthful expression. We're only just starting to understand the true implications of the axiom that energy follows thought, and that thoughts become things, and the power of our mind to create. Through the higher expression of this third ray, we will come to realize our capacity to create consciously, from pure heart intent with our mind, to clothe an idea in energy that manifests it into the material world. This is goodwill, or love in action, will energy directed and lovingly applied. According to the Bailey teachings, the highest expression of love that mankind is capable of at this time is goodwill, and it's the basis of all true service work. Madame Blavatsky described will as the one and sole principle of abstract eternal motion, or its ensouling essence. The will creates, she said, for the will in motion is force, and force produces matter. Blavatsky stated in the article that I cited previously on will and desire, quote, "Both will and desire are absolute creators, forming the man himself and his surroundings. But will creates intelligently, desire blindly and unconsciously. The man, therefore, makes himself in the image of his desires, unless he creates himself in the likeness of the divine through his will, the child of the light. His task is twofold: to awaken the will, to strengthen it by use and conquest, to make it absolute ruler within his body, and parallel with this, to purify desire. Knowledge and will are the tools for the accomplishment of this purification," unquote. Will energy without a connection to the pure intention of the Buddhic heart is subject to the corruption of power and use of will for selfish ends. And we see this. We see it more and more on our planet every day. Power over, which diminishes the true expression of another, controls, manipulates. When this will energy is combined, however, with compassionate universal love, it empowers others and enables them to step into their full expression of their light. Loving intention without the harnessing of the will is often ineffectual in enacting the desired change. It's a lovely thought, but stops there as there's no action. Some people spend entire lifetimes with heartfelt intentions that never come to be. A quote from a treatise on white magic by Alice Bailey. Quote, "As God creates, so man can create. Given a certain intensity of will, and the shapes created by the mind become subjective. Hallucinations, they are called, although to their creator they are real as any visible object is to anybody else. Given a more intense and intelligent concentration of this will, and the form becomes concrete, visible, objective. The man has learned the secret of secrets. He is the magician." A casual thought or word creates effects that are transient and not lasting. But for example, when we come to understand in the future the seventh ray of ceremonial magic and use it to evoke the use of ritual and words of power that combine with the first ray will behind them, connected with a loving altruistic intention of the heart, we will be able to create effects that are long-lasting and transformative. We can literally, with our minds, recreate our world. But together, these two powerful forces create magic. And as more people are able to understand and access the synergy of these energies, we will move into a future in which we play a conscious part in creating the change we want to see in all human relations with each other, with the other kingdoms, with our planet. We can heal our planet. And we can move toward a world based on loving compassion, peace, and harmony, a new world, a new earth. Hopefully you read Tim's latest article in the Hermes magazine, The Reconfiguration of Humanity. Flows into this perfectly. We're on the same page. We will learn to use our soul-inspired will to direct the healing powers of love. For example, through Lucius Trust, there are thousands in the world that visualize and use a meditation in triangles every day to change the etheric nature of the etheric energy surrounding our planet, to transform the dark, negative thought forms into those aligned with the light. Example of the many groups who come together in full and new moon meditations and visualizations using the power of group thought to visualize a new world, to visualize the change they seek. We all come to truly understand the power of our mind to create our material reality. In doing so, we will come to love and to realize that ultimately we are here to love, to be love.